Hi everyone, it's Evelyn, and as promised, in this week's video we're going to go over some peony bouquet recipes because the peonies are definitely starting to bloom. What I'm going to do before I go over some of the recipes that I've done, well, all of the recipes that I've done since they started blooming, which has only been in the past week, is just show you some of the ones that are on the plants. It's a morning after the last bouquets that I did because I cut them every morning to make the bouquets. I don't want to leave them on the plants because I don't want to get, that's Esri jumping on me, because I don't want to get them pollinated by the bees and shorten their lifespan. But I also want to water them a half an hour before I cut them so they're well hydrated, which helps with their vase life as well. Esri, can you get taller so they can see you? No, that's as tall as she's gonna get. So let's flip you around and I'll show you the ones that I have on the plants, and then we'll get into the bouquet recipes. I'll put the names of them up on the screen because I don't have my garden map with me to tell you what the names of these ones are. But this plant has this one, which is really quite pretty. It's the only one that's blooming right now. I have cut quite a few off. And by the way, check this out. Ranunculus starting to bloom. So I'm going to just swing around this one. Come over to Bartzella, whose name is easy to remember because it's the only yellow one. It's got 3 opening that I have to cut. It's still in the morning. I just finished watering, so I like to give them that half an hour of hydration before I cut them. Here's some more ranunculus at the feet of it. I mean, it's just about June 1st, and the ranunculus are only just starting to bloom. This one I'm really looking forward to. I don't know what color that is, but that's sidetracking. So then over here on this bed, we have a crimson one starting to open. And if I go over to the 5th bed, which is the one next to the strawberry beds, I've got a pink one starting to open. As you can see also, my bachelor buttons are opening. I've been cutting quite a few of those. There's another pink one over there, another pink one over there that needs to get cut. And these alliums, don't know the name of them. I'll try to remember to look it up. And of course I still have a few drumsticks over here that I can cut. But anyway, this is about the peonies. So let's get started on the peonies. Part of my bouquet recipes are using these stunning fuchsia rhododendrons. But I can't reach them from the ground because if I zoom back out, you'll see how far down it is to the ground. So what I actually have to do to cut those ones, and I've done it already, and I'm going to show you a clip, just a tiny clip, as I've gone through this window with my tall pruning stick to cut the ones closest to the house, which I would have to do anyway. And I'll show you that right after this clip. But before this particular clip finishes, I also want to show you these red ones, which I can reach from the ground. And look how stunning those are. So these are the ones that are super, super popular. People like the fuchsia ones with the yellow peonies, but the red ones pair well with everything, and it's a lesser common color, and I use them a lot. They also hold really well in the heat of the sun. They also go tall, and they're also getting clearly close to the house. If I back up again, you can see, look, there's Esri. You can see how close they're getting to the house. So they're going to have to get, this section's going to have to get pruned back a bit, and I'll just use those flowers when I prune it. But just a quick little video of me sticking the stick through the window up there, over to the ones over here, and then definitely getting on to the bouquet recipes. So here I am, literally going through the upstairs window. See, down over there is where the sunflowers got planted, and are getting planted in successions, and how tall these gorgeous hydrangeas are that are from the other side of the fence. But I'm pruning them before they get too close to the house, because you can see how close that is to the house. I'm pruning them through the upstairs window. Anyway, I can't do that and film at the same time because I'm liable to drop my phone through the window or who knows what. So I'll continue doing my pruning. So this is my first Ito Peony bouquet of the season. And if I get up closer, you'll see I have two of these pale yellow ones. There's one there and there's one there. I'll have to look up the names of those and put it on the screen. And I also have one of these more vintage colored, kind of reddish one. I'll put the name of that up on the screen with a picture of it so you can see what it actually looks like. Now I paired it with red rhododendrons because they're all blooming. So I cut 3 branches, one that had 2 open and 2 branches that had a single. So there's 4 red rhodos, 3 of the Ito peonies, 1 of the alliums because it was broken in the yard, so I'm using it, and the first foxglove that's blooming. And that's all I have in here. I have no other filler, just those things. I haven't put the paper wrap around it to hold it together. I've just got a loose tie, and I use twine to tie it because elastics don't break down forever, so I avoid using elastics whenever possible and just use twine, and twine can get reused. So yeah, so that's my first Ito peony of the season, and the recipe again is 3 Ito peonies, 2 in the pale yellow, 1 in the sort of antique red, 4 red rhododendrons, 1 purple allium, and 1 purple foxglove, and absolutely no other fillers. The only leaves in here are really from the rhododendrons, and that's it. I let the flowers speak for themselves, and I think that's really quite beautiful. Anyway, that's the first Ito peony, Ito peony bouquet of the season, which is going up to the roadside wagon as soon as I put the paper wrap on it. So here's bouquet number 2. I haven't tied it yet. I'm just holding it with my fingers. All the stems haven't been trimmed yet. And by the way, when you're using woody stems, like with the rhododendrons or hydrangeas or whatever, cut, after you've trimmed it, cut into the stem about 1/2 inch. It gives it far more ability to suck up moisture and make the blooms last longer. The other thing I do is I water about 1/2 hour before I pick. So I get 6+ days. I haven't checked past 6. That was dumb of me. I tossed it at 6, but at 6 days it was still looking fine. My peonies are good for at least 6 days, probably 7. Anyway, in this bouquet, I've got 2 Bartzella Ito peonies. They are very powerful in their look. I wanted to pair them with softer stuff, so I've given it 1 white foxglove, 2 white alliums, and then around the collar just some soft pink rhododendrons. And if I stand back, I have to look where I'm standing because I'm in the garden path. I don't know, that's just stunning. And it's, you know, I mean, it's got size to it, but there's not that many stems in here. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stems. And that's about kind of the standard of what I put in bouquets. The leaves from the rhododendron are the only green filler that's in here. So while I'm holding it where it's going to tie, I'm just going to obviously pick off any leaves that show up below that. So I can just hold down here now for any of the leaves I'm actually holding. And any leaves that don't look good, I can just cut away with my fingers. Grab it again. Now, one thing that you can do is, like, when you're holding it and you're putting the stems together, at that point you can adjust the heights, like for instance of these alliums, if you want them to be a little bit taller or a little bit lower. I have to look which stem that is. And you can also just sort of pivot these around exactly to where you want them to go. Same thing with this. I could make this really tall if I wanted to, but clearly I don't. But I am going to push it up for now because I'm just adjusting it, and just peel off a bit more greenery that's in it. Tuck that down, but on this side you can see it tucked down into there. So that's my second Ito peony arrangement recipe. It's actually only got 2 in it, the Bartzellas, but they're so big and so powerful, it doesn't need any more than that. Yeah. I like that. I'm gonna go tie it now. Bouquet number 3. So here we have, let's hold it in the distance, size, look how big that is. It's bigger than my head, but it still only has 8 stems, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, this one's got 9 stems. That's because I added this foxglove in at the end. So what we have is another Bartzella peony with a beautiful yellow. That is, however, the only peony in this peony bouquet. I paired it with a large purple allium, for, I don't know what it's called, it came from a mix. This purple foxglove, which is tucked in with some long needled pine, just to give it a little bit of character. And then I've got some of the lime green maple leaves in here, and then a pink rhodo, a fuchsia rhodo, and 2 more fuchsia rhodos. So that's this bouquet. I think it's quite stunning. And I'm going to go tie this one up now. You have to keep track of them all and tell me which one you like the best, because it'd be kind of cool to know. I'm going to try and remember to take pictures of them all, and then I can put them all up at the end. Label them 1, 2, 3. I don't know. You don't have to label them. You can just count. Anyway, so that's this bouquet. On to the next. Here we go. Here's the next one. No yellow in this one. I have 2 of these crimson Ito peonies. Have to look up the name, put it on the screen. I don't have the names of my Ito peonies down yet, because this is literally the first year I'm making bouquets out of them, because it's their 3rd year. So anyway, I have the 2 crimson Ito peonies. Then I have 1, 2, 3 red rhodos below them. 1 purple foxglove. I have lots of foxgloves blooming right now. And 2 white alliums. And that's, oh yeah, and 1 of the long needled pines in here, just to fill up the center, because the rhodos were all wanting to go out, so I needed something to fill up in the center, and I didn't want to do it with another flower. So that's that. You can see I still got all the weird wonky stems here. I'm holding it where it's going to get tied. I'm going to look for the shortest stem, which is that one, and cut these all down to that height. So that's, what's that now? Number 1, 2, 3. This is number 4. On to tie it. So here's the next one. What is this? 3, 4. This is number 5. So I've got a white allium, or a white allium, a purple allium, purple foxglove, some long needled pine, red rhodos. This one branch had like 3 on them, and then 2 branches of singles. And then these Ito peonies, they're nothing special. Where's the other one? There. They're not like the Bartzella, but they are yellow. And it's a little strange because they're coming from the one plant that's called Lollipop, but they don't look like Lollipop. So I don't know if it was mislabeled when I bought it or what. It didn't bloom last year. It's the first year blooming. So did I miss anything in here? No, that's all of it. I did put some dried poppy pods in this one. But that's number 5. Time to trim the branches. Next one. So this one has the yellow Bartzella, the red rhodos, because they are by far the most popular. It has, forget the name of this one again, I'll have to put that on. A few poppy pods, 2 of the white alliums, some long needled pine, and just a small touch of the lime maple leaves. So that's what this one looks like. I'll go cut the ends, wrap it, and take a photo of it, and then number it, so that when you look at all of them in their individual photos, you'll be able to tell me which one you like based on the number. Here we go. The next one. This one's a little different. It's got 8 stems, but this time it's got 3 alliums, 1 purple and 2 white. And I've matched it with one of the crimson peonies, which isn't quite open. I've got a Bartzella yellow peony that isn't quite open, and 2 stems of red rhodos that I found that had blooms really close together, and some maple leaves in the lime color. I mean, I'm just going to put my head beside that. You can see how big these bouquets are. And yet they're only 8 stems. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, just 8 stems. That's why I like really large showcasing flowers, is because you can make a massive bouquet that just demands attention and looks gorgeous. And it's only got 8 stems. Off to wrap it and photograph it. This bouquet is a little different, mainly because I've put some hazelnut leaves in it. I've got 3 hazelnuts trees growing in pots, thanks to whatever buried them in my back garden a few years ago. And I thought I'd try the hazelnut leaves in it, and I quite like it with that. I'm going to stand back so you can get a nice good look at the leaves on the face of it. I think that looks really pretty. I added that after I put the rest of the bouquet together, so this is a 9 stem one. So I have 3 Bartzella peonies, 3 red rhodos, 1 white allium, a branch of lime green maples, and a branch of the hazelnut leaves. I really quite like that. I might have to pot up my I was actually thinking of tossing my hazelnut trees, because I've had them now for 3 years in the pots. I've never got a single blossom on them. Maybe they're in too much shade. I might move them and see if they do better somewhere else. But I was considering tossing them, which is why I thought, well, maybe I'll try the leaves on them. So even if I don't get any flowers or nuts, I'm actually really liking how those leaves look like in this bunch. Anyway, off to trim. I don't have the big gangly ones on this bouquet. Off to trim, tie, and this one's going up to the roadside wagon. This bouquet is quite a bit smaller, and that's because now that the ranunculus are blooming, I've paired it with smaller things, because the ranunculus, of course, I'm just going to tip my camera so you can see me better. The ranunculus are, of course, smaller in scale. So I have a white ranunculus, that's Amandine white. Pauline is this deep red one. Forget the name of this red one with the green center. I'll put it on the screen. Amandine salmon, which to me looks orange. That's it for the ranunculus. Then I have the purple allium. I have a couple of these smaller, it's one of the peony plants that's not putting out big blooms yet, so probably because it's its first year blooming. A couple of them, I've had them for 3 years, but the first year where I planted them, turned out it was a way too wet spot and I lost a couple, so I moved them. So they got handled a bit in the second year with the beginning of the second year with moving, after I realized that how wet it was where I had actually planted them up against the fence there, and the fence is sitting on top of a concrete retaining wall because there's a big drop off to the properties below me, and so the concrete retaining wall was holding moisture, and of course we're really wet in the winter, and the peonies didn't like it. So as soon as I realized that, I had to dig them up and move them, and that's when I put them into my 5 beds. And then the next year, because I had the 6 deciduous peonies planted in other spots and they weren't doing well, the 2 Edo peonies that I had in the first bed on the north side of our property, I dug up and put them in the, because each bed has 2, but 2 of the beds only had 1, so I moved them into those empty spots there because I had thought maybe I'd buy 2 more. And then the 6 deciduous peonies I put in that bed. So they're, even though they're 3 years old and should be blooming really well, I have moved them around a bit to get them to the perfect spot for them on my property. And if that means in the 3rd year I lose the voluptuousness of the blooms, oops, there's Esri again, so be it, because to me it's more important to get them into the right spot than to have fantastic blooms on the 3rd year. So anyway, some of them are still having smaller blooms because of the, they've been moved twice in a 3-year period. So these particular peonies are smaller. I'm just going to ignore Esri. She's got a ball in her mouth. I had the yellow Bartzella. This one hasn't opened yet. let me see what else I got in there. So that's it for oh no, I got a red peony in here. Do I have it in here? No, I don't. I got one of the deciduous peonies, but it's not in this bouquet. So then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the red rhodos to collared around the bottom. I have to rearrange them a bit because again, I haven't tied anything yet. I'm just holding it. So anyway, I shall go tie this, wrap it, take a photo of it. I did take a photo of the last one. I actually put it up at the roadside wagon and then went, oh crap, I didn't take a picture of it. So brought it back down, took a picture of it, put it back up at the roadside wagon, and now I've made this bouquet. And now I'll go take a picture of that after I wrap it. Well, that's the Ito peony bouquets that I'm making for this week. I've actually made them over the course of the week, a couple one day, a couple another day, and so forth and so on. But what I'm going to do now is put them all up on the screen, one after the other, with their numbers on them. And I really hope you'll join in with me on this little fun experiment and let me know which of the bouquets is your favorite. Feel free to tell me which is your second favorite and your third favorite. It's just an interesting little experiment. Before we do that, take a moment and hit the like button. Really appreciate it. Does a lot for my channel. It shows engagement. Keep track of the bouquets. Let me know which one you like the best. Second, third, possibly. Put them all in order of 1 to 10. That would be great. And then at the end of the video, after you've done all that, or even before, hit the subscribe button if you enjoy my channel. There's a lot of you watching that haven't subscribed yet, and it really means a lot if you would. But now let's get on to the photo montage. I hope you enjoyed that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of links in the bottom for a next video to watch if you haven't seen it already. I've mentioned my the peonies in the garden, and what I'm going to do is put a link to my May 11th tour so that you can see where each of the peonies is located and what each one of the flowers looked like based on how they were labeled. I'm starting to suspect that there were some mess ups with the labeling of the plants. But we'll see. I mean, I'll figure that out next year. I'll give it another year of blooming. Maybe they'll look a little different next year. I don't know. But and the other link I'm going to leave below is to my flower wagon, because of course I've mentioned my flower wagon a few times as well. So if you haven't watched the flower wagon video or my May 11th garden tour, the links will be in the description box below. Next week will be the June garden tour. Stay tuned for that. Bye.